Hi everybody, my name is Greg, and the motivation for my project that I'm going to share comes from the hardware that's in front of me here. So I have this customizable MIDI controller, and then I have my Eurorack modular synthesizer, which its language is voltage. And I've been thinking about how to kind of meld these together for a long time. And there's a lot of gear out there that already kind of tries to do this, such as like MIDI to CV converters, or sequencers that you can buy that have like CV out. But they've all had their downsides, such as like not being able to support different tunings, or having like an arbitrary number of steps in the sequence to support. And so to kind of compensate for that, I wrote my own software in Chuck that kind of I view as the brain to my hardware. And so today I'm going to give kind of a demonstration of how it works. So the very first step, you can see that there's a bunch of kind of menus at the very top here. So let's say if we want to get MIDI into the modular synthesizer. So I can get this kind of audio out node, and I can get this MIDI node here. And pretty much all of these nodes that I've created have three different sections. There's an options section where you can change parameters, such as like the MIDI channel that I want to receive data from. There's an input section, which we don't need right now, so I'm going to hide that. And then there's an output section. So let's say from this MIDI device I want to get pitch information and gate information. And then I don't need this last one, so I'm going to hide that. I can actually connect this to the audio out, and then if everything works, so now I've made this connection in code, and it's actually connecting my hardware together. So for one example, if I want to change this from a monophonic synth to arpeggiated synth, I can choose the arpeggiation option here. And if I want to change the tempo, well, I can do that by connecting a transport node into the input of this MIDI node. So I'm going to set transport here, and then on the sequencer, I'm going to add this transport node, connect them, and then I can actually change this maybe to a different tempo, change the beat multiplier to 2. Cool. So what if I want to now, so I'm getting MIDI going into my Eurorack. What if I want to get the information from my Eurorack, and kind of like get it into this system to manipulate it? Well, I can add an audio in node. And in here, I'm sending in a basic triangle oscillator into this kind of first jack. And so maybe I want to do some like wave folding on it. I can select the wave in and actually connect those. And then if I send this back to the DAC, and I'm doing some wave folding here, maybe I want to change some things about it, such as the threshold for which it actually starts doing the folds, and maybe the gain to scale this input. And if I want to connect maybe like an LFO from my Eurorack, and then a potentiometer from my Eurorack, I can do that here. And then let's add one more MIDI node with pitch, gate information, start hiding some of this. Now, and I have it set up such that I can now manipulate the gain parameter on this waveform. Or if you would prefer to do it with a MIDI CC message, if I get another MIDI node and I select CC here, and I choose, that I want my mod wheel from while you're a rack. I can do that instead too. And I should. So you have this really kind of complex configuration that you want, and so how are you going to recall this later on when you want to perform with it? Well, there's actually a way to save these configurations too. So if I go down here to the bottom and then type the name of the file that I want to save, maybe if I call this like demo1, and then I click save. If I open it at a later date, and then type in demo1 again and click load. Might take a second, but it's back, and it should. Work as you would expect. And the last thing that I want to show with this is I added in a sequencer as well, such that you can kind of record your playing and then play it back through your system. So I have an example of that that I made last minute modifications to right before the class, so we'll see how that goes. It's always good to do. Let's see. So you get a lot of oscillator physics warming up. That should be good. So I have this sequencer node here that is connected to a MIDI node that I want to record, and then I have my mod wheel kind of connected to this record parameter. So if I think it should be recording. This one and this one. Okay, let's try this. So that should have been recorded, and if I play it back,